G'day everyone, welcome to the Flight of the Next podcast. We've gathered here today. We have Jonathan, Denise, Dean and me, Holly. Two of us in the very cold looking New Zealand, two of us in the Greater Sydney region. So we were going to talk about a season preview for the Next Ladies, as well as covering the preseason matches that they had and yesterday's match against Melbourne City. So, Dean, how did you feel pre-season went, seeing as you and I were the ones who managed to see them play Jets and Mariners?
I think it was very experimental. Players were sort of out of position, and sort of the experiment with sort of Kate Taylor, for example, sort of pushing in towards the halves. That was sort of ongoing. I'll come back watching yesterday's game. I feel a lot more hopeful and a lot better than I did after watching the preseason games. Preseason games, I say, a lot of feeling out and experimentation. But we did well in both games. I think, what was it, 3-2 against the Mariners, and what was it against the Jets?
2-1. So we first played the Jets. The goal that they scored was a nice free kick that we really shouldn't have given away. Unfortunately, someone on the team made a mistake and thought that there was a free kick awarded to us. They picked up the ball. Thankfully, thankfully it didn't cause like a penalty. But anyway, so a player picked up the ball when they shouldn't have, and they scored from that free kick. But yeah, that was really good to see. And then the Mariners match, that was 3-2. That was quite close, but I feel like I came away from watching those two matches in a position where I was like, we're going to have a good season.
Yeah.
We're going to have a good season, because I could see how much the team had started to gel. I saw the impact of having these new signings. So the academy but the academy players, as well as our visa signings. So the performance yesterday didn't actually surprise me, because I saw the seeds of that already in the preseason that we were privileged enough to be able to attend.
Just to add to that, as an outsider looking in, didn't see either of the two preseason games, but there does appear to be, just from what's been on social media, and that you're right, Holly, that there's a different feeling about the team coming into the season than there was last year. So last season, we had 3 football ferns who parachuted in at the last minute. There was the absence of Coach Gemma. Coach Nat had come in. It was disjointed, and it took 6 or 7 weeks for the team to kind of find the chemistry. But you can see it right away. Even from the outside looking in, it just feels like there's something good happening.
It's promising.
The spirit amongst the team when they were in Australia, everyone was happy. They were getting on very well. It was a proper team. There wasn't any sort of people on the outside that we could see. Morale seems very high.
Yeah, both games we had a chat to the team, and they were in very good spirits. And the fact that we scored 5 goals in the space of 2 games was also super promising. So yeah, really, really pleased that we managed to attend those, and they appreciated that as well. So that was a great start with pre-season. Let's talk about yesterday. We played City, one of the perennial finalists, always in the hunt for silverware. We lost 1-0 thanks to Hannah Wilkinson putting away a rebound. How did we feel about the game?
I'll go. I'm feeling, and probably you're all the same, I'm feeling very positive. We look great on attack. The movement of the ball forwards. Last season, it was usually, let's try and get it to Paige and let's see what she can do. The movement forward, there was a lot more passing. It was accurate. It was intentional. So we looked good going forward. On defense, I think we also looked good. But the first 10 minutes was very much mostly Melbourne. And we were just sort of getting on scratch. There was a lot of giveaways. And that sort of went on right till about the 30th minute, perhaps. Just turnovers and passes direct to Melbourne. Once we got sort of beyond that, I think we looked good. You could see the team growing, confidence growing, and in the 20-minute Mark. I think we sort of we had Emma Main go down the wing, and she just beat her attacker like she wasn't standing. And that was kind of like, for me, that was the time I thought, wow, yeah, we're going to be good this season.
Yeah, that's what I saw too, Dean, at the back. For that first 15 or 20 minutes there, it's just a little bit disjointed, and Taylor and Barry Davison just were trying to find their way. When they did, they were great. But just that early on bit. But it's interesting watching Davison because she's like Foster, but and it's like Michaela Foster in a slightly different way, but on the other side of the pitch. And she does some cool things with on that ball retrieval, and instead of going for the safe, I'll boot it out and give away a throw in, she cuts it back in and passes it into Barry or whomever to make a more assertive play. So very positive signs from the back four.
There's a bit of confidence playing out from the back now, I think. And watching, last season, anytime we tried it, the palpitations were starting. I feel like kittens starting to come out. But this time, just watching them down the back, it was assured. Yes, there's a few mistakes and turnovers, but I didn't feel as nervous or as bad as I did when watching last season. And it's mostly the same personality. Got Marissa, Mac, and the gang. So yeah, perhaps they're getting more support from the flanks with Davidson forwards and back.
I think we also have struggled in the past a little bit in that defensive centre mid position. And when you're playing out the back, that is a really, really important position. So I think the passing overall has been good, but I think you're right, there has been a bit more of a gelling, and I feel less terrified when we play out from the back than I have. And that's not just the women, by the way, the men, when they try to play out the back, it just does my head in sometimes. But yeah, no, the passing was good. Denise.
Yeah, it's fun watching it. It made me smile. I loved, some of the players I didn't know very well. Manaya, is that how you say her first name? Elliot? That was cool. Like, she was on fire. Like, she really, really played well that first half. And that unfortunately, that's all she had. But she's a former academy player, right?
Mm-hmm.
And man, that was the first time I saw her, and she just made me like grin, like TV kind of grin, like, yay, we got something, it's going. And then Speckmeyer came in after her in the same position, and man, that made my heart go boom, 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 boom. I think she missed the preseason, is that right? With some like weird various ailments. But she is switched on and has some movement to that ball. Like, she has some ball skills.
Yep.
And a little bit, I mean, I know she's American, but she's got a little bit of that South American, hey, I'm gonna show you the ball, and I'm gonna take it away, and I'm gonna take it away, and I'm gonna go around you. And it just made you look stupid. So I love that the Knicks have someone like that can just really play with it, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot more of her.
I watched, Melbourne marked us quite tightly, and so especially in the early stages, there was the high press, and we weren't getting a lot of time on the ball. But then I watched some of the other games this weekend, and there's teams that don't do that. And I've got a feeling that we're going to sort of put 3 or 4 goals past those teams who don't tightly mark us, because we've got now the Frasers and the Elliots and that to sort of move it forward quickly, and with a quality striker as well, or quality strikers. Yeah, if they don't close us down, I think we're going to do some damage, which is great. And the other note I made, in the first 15, 20 minutes, it was the local kids who stood out to me. It wasn't the foreigners. It was the local kids who sort of were stepping up, your Frasers, your Elliots, etc., your Emma Mains, and they look good, and they look like they should be there.
I think that's one of the things that also the men are also. So a lot of people, fans in the off season, have been complaining that the men haven't been out recruiting and that they've been relying on the academy. But like, you can see what that can do. We've already partly seen it with the men. We're now seeing it even more with the women. So that it's not a bad idea. Don't recruit some big name, do some smart visa recruitment, have people who are back every year, bring in the academy players as much as possible. And I think that's great. And I think Chiefy is doing the same thing. Jonathan?
I was thinking about this a little bit earlier, and to think now that Marissa Vandermeer, Kate Taylor, Mackenzie Barry are veterans, or 3 seasons in for this team. They're all only about 20 or 21 years of age. And then we've got Mania Elliott, and then, as you say, Macy Fraser, who are both 18, 19. I mean, you're absolutely right, Holly. The academy system is working. And Dean, like you say, these young ones coming through, they've got it. They're cooking.
Yeah, and the skills they've developed are amazing as well. So, yeah, great times away, I think.
But you gotta give it to like the imports. I mean, really. I mean, like
we've needed them. That's what's been missing, right? That's what's been missing. So when we talk about the academy players and the sort of returnees, we're not forgetting about our imports. Like, that's a massive, massive gain for us, because that's the piece of the puzzle we've not been allowed to have, either due to the APL rules or because of New Zealand football footing some of the bill. So that is a huge piece. I see it as those 3 elements: your smart visa players, your cores that are returning, incoming academy players. It's a beautiful thing to see. I hope it works for the men. There are a lot of people saying we'll get the wooden spoon, but I don't know. So
I have a question. How about our goalkeeping position? What do you think?
So I like Bree a lot, and I kind of want to see Bree playing, but Foster really, really impressed yesterday. I don't think she impressed as much in pre-season. In fact, she was the one who did the handball that gave away the free kick against Newcastle that they scored. So I was a little bit unsure in the pre-season. Both her and Bree got game time, but yesterday's performance was really, really good. Apart from potentially, if you're going to be very picky, the fact that she parried that shot back in front of oncoming strikers to concede that goal. But I mean, sometimes you think you're going to catch it and it just bounces away. Maybe that's a decision you want to make differently next time. But like, that was probably her only mistake the whole game.
It was a great performance. My only thought was she looked like she hurt her quad a little bit in the first half, and I was just a little bit worried. So warming Bree up. I just hope she does sort of remain stable and injury-free.
I think that's a big one.
And her clearances down the field as well, especially when we're sort of like, it was the last 10 minutes and we needed to get the ball down there. It was going a very long way in very good areas. And we had that one bit where Svakmar, I think, sort of ran onto a long ball and we went very close. So, yeah, I think she's got all the skills needed.
Yeah, I'm all about those goalkeeper assists. Sometimes just release them and have a blast with that if you have a big boot on you. And, she does.
We're 2 minutes of the game, she was up in their area because it was corner after corner. And I was just, kind of like the fairy tale finish. I was just hoping for that to come through. And she scored the equalizer.
Wouldn't that have been great? Like, break your neck in 7 places and your first game back, like, donk it in from your head. Yeah. I mean, that would have been really cool.
It would have been a CNN, ESPN moment, that.
Yeah. I mean, I like that the two were competing for the starting position. And I think that goalkeepers should have that. And we'll see how that progresses. Is there any other surprises you had?
Yeah, just before we move on from Riley Foster, one thing I noticed was that she brought a different level of leadership at the back. And it was similar to a Lily, kind of like a Lily approach, a bit more authoritarian than a Lily Alfeld. Like, Lily was a little bit nice and stuff. Whereas Foster came out and she's like, you out there, you get up the field. Here comes the ball. Like, and it was just like, and then at other times she's like, just settling it all down. She knows how to read the speed of the game. And I think from that very back position, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about watching her. But for the rest, Speckmeyer came on, as you said, Denise, her feet were incredible. Davison has some skills. She was playing in the right back there, and she had a couple of really good runs. But we really just can't go past the person we picked as player of the match, which was Hope Breslin, who really just worked hard all day.
It's so hard to pick. We really, sometimes it's pretty obvious and we've all quickly made a decision. Other times, every person suggests two different people and we're still not sure who to go with. So and that's so telling that we've had wonderful performances across the park the whole game. I don't think anybody had a bad game.
Yeah, I just had confidence when Hope got the ball that, it wasn't like good things were going to happen. Sorry, puppy moment.
Oh, man.
Tobin's named after Tobin Heath, the famous soccer player, and she wandered in.
Sorry, just a credit where credit's due, and this is not so much the internationals, but the fact what they bring to the team. And Chloe Knott had an absolute blinder yesterday. This was the Chloe Knott that we were hoping to see last year, playing the attacking mid role rather than a defensive or a holding. Just so good to watch. Just full of confidence. She's having fun. Like, go Chloe. Very cool.
I think when you get your players in the right positions and their preferred position as well. Right back at you, Denise.
Yeah, exactly. I think the midfield is going to improve this year and get really a lot stronger. And we needed that because last year, it was a little shaky, right? So, that is a important place of improvement for the Knicks. And I'm going to keep watching it throughout the season.
Crowd made a good noise as well. It was good to hear. I was a little bit worried. 2,600, I think it was. 2,500. It's going to look a lot better at Jerry Collins when you're at a sort of small stadium. It's probably going to sound a lot better, but it was great to still hear Ethan and the gang up in the stands making the good noise.
Yeah, the Fever makes so much noise, despite how huge that stadium is. I don't know whether Sky are smart about where they put the microphones or whether it's the acoustics of being like echoing around the underside of the seating, but the Fever always sound amazing. It's so good.
Big applause to everyone who was at the match. Rough, windy day. So good on you if you went out there.
Yeah, I imagine we would have potentially got more people in if it hadn't been such horrible weather. But it's Wellington. It is what it is. The wind, the rain, the Phoenix.
It's a typical strikers burglary that I heard Hannah Wilkinson mentioned probably only once in that match, and it was when she tucked in the rebound. So she did her job. But apart from that, you just didn't hear anything. And it was kind of the same whole for Melina Ayres against Newcastle. It was like she had two touches the whole game, and one was a goal, and that was enough to get the win. And same for City. So they were a good team, but yeah, I felt we were there equal, and a 0-0 draw or a 1-1 draw would have been a good result. And say, even though we lost, no shame in it. We looked really good, so I'm feeling good.
So where do we think? Do we have a prediction from everybody about where we think we'll finish on the ladder this year? So it's a 12-team comp. It's full home and away, so there's the full 22 matches. So it's going to be an even draw. The finals are 16 finals. Where do we think we are going to come? We are not coming last this year.
No.
I said that last year, and we came last. But we beat two teams in pre-season. We scored 5 goals. We played really well yesterday. I'd see us as mid-table.
Yep.
Dean?
Yep. Knicks 6. That's my picks is Knicks at 6.
Knicks at 6. That's where what
Yeah.
the men do. Knicks at 6, lose the first round of finals. That's right. We'd actually be pretty happy if that was the case with the women, I think. Jonathan?
I'm with Dean. Knicks at 6.
Yeah, it sounds like a newscast. Knicks at 6. But listen, what I love about women's football right now across the globe is that teams can beat each other, right? There's a lot more parity going on. And let's say the Knicks get in there. I mean, I think, they can grit it out, and they're a more talented team, a more gritty team, and hopefully, a better coach team, and we will see something that we haven't seen this season. And so Knicks at 6, get in there, get some playoff matches. I've vowed if there's some things going on over in Oz, I'll come over for those playoff matches and cheer it on. Mark my words.
You heard it here first, folks.
Knicks at 6.
All right, so we've also we've not seen a goal yesterday. There were goals in pre-season, so Dean and I did have a sneak peek of goals, and that was Kate Taylor, Grace Wisniewski, who scored an MMA, Mania Elliott, and whoever the third person was. Oh dear. Well, we've had 5 different goal scorers. I know that much. Obviously, those goals don't count, but what are we picking for the Golden Boot? We don't need to give, I think, an amount, but who do we reckon is going to come up with the Golden Boot? I reckon Emma Main.
From what I've seen, I'm going to go with Speckmeyer. And I'm also picking Foster to tie with Breslin for assists as well. Yeah.
Wow, you did the 2 people I was thinking of, Emma Main and Speckmeyer, for sure. And I'm gonna get Haley Davidson in there. She's looking for the goal. I mean, she's running pretty far away from the goal, but she knows where it's at, and she's gonna put some boots behind the ball and see what can happen from if it has to be from distance, it'll be from distance.
I'm going to go out on 11. I'm going to say Wisniewski. I mean, Speckmeyer is my number 1, but I think Grace will be a very close second. And to think that we haven't even mentioned Mickey Robertson,
Kelly Brown,
who last year had an absolute blinder. So the team are amping with talent. Are we going to see goals, which is so good?
Is there any reason she didn't get in, Robertson, or he just went with the players he had? Yeah, okay. So there's no.
What was on for? Coach's choice. Yeah.
She did play in the pre-season matches, but I don't know why. I mean, I think the thing with getting in new, potentially better players is you suddenly see your favourites who you enjoyed seeing in the last couple of seasons. Sometimes they start to get less game time, which is always a bit sad because I think Robbo's a fan favourite. At least for her stature and her dogged play. Kelly Brown, Mickey Foster. There's quite a number of people who could whiz. We said whiz already. Alyssa Winham.
Marissa.
Yep. It's a very long season. There's going to be injuries. So when we don't see our Alyssas and our Robbos out there immediately, there's going to be fatigue. There's going to be injury. So, say 22 matches, everyone's going to get a chance to shine.
Yeah. Do we even mention Hope Breslin? I mean, I know she's a midfielder, but again, positive play, looking for the goal.
Yeah. Though I think though it took a while for the shot to come in that first match yesterday, but yes. We're manufacturing enough movement forwards, I think, that we're going to have lots of goals this season.
And what made me happy is we didn't give up something on a corner. Like, that was like last year, like, no. And, they didn't have tons, but we did defend them. Like they had enough to like check that out, that this, I really, my heart dies when we get scored on a set piece. And
we've got the tall timber now in the back to defend. Recollect people like that, Marissa.
I think Riley might be slightly taller than Bree. Either way, she was confident in the air, so she plucked a lot of balls out of the air that some goalkeepers would struggle with potentially. So
and just in the whole all of play, I noticed yesterday that our Nick skills were a lot more had more physicality about them. Like they were willing to rush it up a bit and bump it up, which was good. So both on when we're on in those defensive set pieces, but also just in open play defending. There was a couple of times when Davison got under some people's skin, and I was like, "This is good." Emma Main, like she's just getting in there and giving it some bump, like quality football bumping. It was cool. So when these set pieces come, we know they're going to stand up and be counted.
Yep, they're not pushed over, not pushed away.
And Spitfire got decked a few times. I was like, blow the whistle, take out a card, whatever. But anyway, she took it well, and she had a few glances at the refs, and I think the crowd was echoing that sentiment.
Yeah, she'll find how things work in the A-League and stuff like that, and she'll just sort of adapt to that and think, like, oh, I'm not going to get a free kick for that, then I'll just stay on my feet.
So we're playing the Wanderers on, so it's a double header actually, with the men. Dean and I will be there, and there should be a pretty good crowd of Knicks fans. So what are we picking? So Wanderers are in a bit of a funny place, their women's team, in that Kat Smith, their coach, got fired out of nowhere 10 days before the season started. The bloke who's come in admitted on camera that he doesn't even really follow the league. They lost only by 2-0, but quite comprehensively to Sydney, who are obviously a good team. I think we can beat them.
Yeah.
I think we can beat them like 2-0 or something. I'd be disappointed if we lost to them. Any thoughts?
3-0 a win.
Yeah, let's beat the Wanderers. Let's do it.
In the past.
Yeah, let's do it. There's no reason not to right now. They look very vulnerable. And of note, y'all know this, but Millie Clegg can't play until she's 18, so she's not going to be playing. Well, what's the rule? Can someone explain that to me again?
It's 18. So FIFA does that to stop child trafficking effectively. So that's why if you're under 18, you can't play for a foreign club. So that's why I didn't actually realize she could sign for a foreign club. I thought she'd turned 18. But yeah, obviously she can't take the field, but it's not far away. She's 18, so they wouldn't have signed her otherwise. Yeah, 2 weeks. So, and the thing is, they've also lost Claire Hunt, which has been massive, and they've lost Malia Steinmetz as well. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, that'll be interesting. They definitely struggled against Sydney FC. Any other thoughts on the score?
Looking at who they fielded against Sydney, as you say, Holly, like there's very few names in there where you'd go, yeah, they're like super high quality. And it's not to say that any of the players are not that good, because they're playing the A-League, so they are good, but they just don't have those standout players like we'd expect, or they had last year. I'm with you, Holly. I'm picking next at 2-0. I think 3 possibly, but I'm going to sit at 2-0. I don't think the Wanderers have got the ability to score against us.
Yeah, I remember watching the Wanderers when they had Lynn Williams, they had Kristen Hamilton, they had Abby Smith, they had who's the one who just signed with Cooney Cross.
Mm-hmm.
They were stacked, and I was like, wow, this is a fun team to watch. They are not them right now. And so I think we're 2-0. We're going to beat them.
There's been a problem at Wanderers. I know this is a bit of a tangent. We've got a friend of ours, Megan Borg, who I invited to come onto the podcast, but politely declined because I think she's a bit too shy for podcasts, maybe. Either way, she's a long-suffering Wanderers fan, and she it's the same thing. Like she talks about like the way that the players are treated, the coaching staff, the lack of support, the fact that they never hold. They've produced some brilliant players, and they've gone. And perhaps the best of that is Courtney Vine, who now just tears them apart and is an absolute hero in Australian football right now. And they have those people, and they just let them go. So Wanderers are in a lot of trouble, and it seems to be always, well, for a long time it has been the case, which is disappointing because you want all the teams to do well.
Just not against us.
Just not against us.
Exactly.
So they can't improve yet, right? They can't improve. They can't improve yet. Speaking of the rest of the league, who do we think is going to win the comp this year? Who do we think is going to come last? So I'm actually going to pick Wanderers for the spoon. And I think probably we're going to have Sydney FC win the comp again. Either the grand final or the regular season, probably. But I know it's boring, but I mean, we have to be realistic. Any other thoughts?
I got to agree with Sydney.
I have to see all the teams play, and I haven't seen them yet. I'll be honest. So I can't decide on.
Hard to pick for the spoon. I won't.
I mean, sure, Sydney, why not?
I think
we can't count out Western United, but they had, I don't know, something didn't go right in goal on the weekend, and they dropped what could have been a win, apart from Grace Jarley's absolute rocket ship of a goal that is one of the best of all time. But Western United aren't there. Melbourne, as we played City, they looked average. Melbourne Victory, they've got some issues going on. So really, Sydney are kind of they've building a legacy. I think you're right, Holly. I think we'll see them top of the table again.
Having said that, we haven't had an update on Nat Tobin and her knee. That was she'll stretch it off. I mean, she's a rock at the back, and without her, I think that they will find things more difficult.
That's how I think we beat them last season. Remember, I'm pretty sure Tobin wasn't playing. I'm pretty sure she'd copped a red, and that was a big reason why we beat them over here in Sydney last season. So that is also, really telling. And it's very funny because they didn't actually seem to have anybody else to place in defence when she went off. So I don't know whether that's an issue Sydney are going to have this season. I'm sure they'll just go and sign more players because they've got tons of money for it. Were there any more predictions for the spoon? Denise? No? I reckon it's got to be like Jets, Mariners.
Hey, don't pick on the Jets. Jets are going all the way. It's gonna be top 6 this year. Go the Jets.
They've got Melina Ayres, and they've got
Claudia Chico.
This is true, but they weren't amazing.
It was burglary on the weekend, but
yeah. So we could also generally talk about any highlights from other games for the week. Dean and I went to the F3 derby, which is Mariners Jets. That got, I don't know if your other two saw any of it, but there were 2 send-offs because there were 2 players on yellow cards who got into shoving matches. And that shoving match, while watching on the replay, I realised was actually started by a tackle that Izzy Gomez. She just ran into someone and body checked them into the ground.
It wasn't a tackle, it was more of a move.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's tense, and then there were a couple of rough tackles from both sides, and then Izzy Gomez flattened someone, and then one of Pryor from the Jets team, who really should have been punished for her role, sprinted 20 metres to try and get at Izzy. And then there was just the shoving, and 2 players who were involved were stupid enough to get involved when they were sitting on yellow cards. So those were 2 exciting things. Somebody also mentioned the Jale goal, which was absolutely incredible. What a rocket.
Gosh. Why didn't the Knicks keep her? She is she is good. Like that was, I honestly didn't realize she had that kind of banger in her. I actually kind of did. But that was a strike and a half.
There was the Adelaide Canberra game, which ended 4-all. Absolutely insane that happened. And then we had
And in that game, Michelle Heyman got, I think it's in 90s, it's either 95th or 96th goals. So she'll hit the ton in the next few games. 100 goals in an A-League career, which is pretty damn cool.
Incredible. And then there was the Brisbane Melbourne victory game, which Brisbane won, which is maybe a little bit surprising, although again, Victory have lost years to the Jets. But they've picked up like Libby Williams. They've picked up a few good players still. But did anyone watch that game live?
I did.
I was really disappointed with how one of the commentators spoke about the refs on that game. I mean, I think commentators are entitled to talk about decisions that the refs made. The comments that were made, I think, were inappropriate. She was saying things like, these refs aren't even contributing to the game. Oh, look, if a lino called something, oh, look, the lino's actually making an effort kind of thing. And that's wrong. You can't do that. I don't know whether there will be fallout, but that's just, as far as I'm concerned, absolutely unacceptable to say that kind of thing. To say, okay, the refs got the call wrong, that's one thing. But this stepped over the line.
It's commentary aside, it was the potential equaliser was rubbed out for an apparent offside.
It wasn't offside. It was confirmed. This is the other thing. Sometimes the people making the comments don't know the rules. So the actual offside wasn't the player that scored the goal. It was what's her name? She used to play for Sydney. There was a player that was offside and was in front of the goalkeeper and blocked her view. So this is the other thing, is you get and again, like as a fan at the field, like you think, oh, what's that an offside for? And you get upset, but I feel like commentators should know better, and I think that coaches and players should know better as well. But that's the thing, is you got to give the refs a bit of benefit of the doubt instead of trashing them.
The one piece of decent commentary that she really made was talking about the Victory Vikings supporters group who were parked underneath the scoreboard. I recorded it and sent it to Bonnie, so she was going to go home and find the original when she got home. So if you haven't seen that coverage or heard about that issue that's going on with the Victory, look it up and drop Bonnie and the Victory Vikings a note, and they'll be sure to fill you in. There's a little bit of different club dynamics going on there, shall we say? But it was good to see them getting a shout out on the broadcast.
Yeah. Well commented, Jonathan, on that. Thank you.
All right. Any further comments to wrap up our pod?
Did you guys see the WNSL trophy presentation today, the plate?
Denise, tell us how you feel about that weird little crappy plate that they give out.
Wait, the NWSL? Is that what you're talking about?
So,
the shield?
Yeah.
Well,
it's embarrassing.
It's like,
listen, in America in general, they don't, I'll be honest, you don't care that much about the shield. Like, it doesn't matter. It's not like the WSL where it's all about the shield and, like, no, like, we're going to have some playoffs after this. And there's a little bit of bragging rights. I didn't see the presentation. I went to San Diego Wave, right? I mean, it must have, because they won, and Portland Thorns got thumped by Allie Riley's team, which was awesome today. That was great. Like, Angel City just had the second half charge to the playoffs. And really, only 2 weeks ago, the first and the last team only had an 11-point difference. And these people have been playing since March. Like, it's been a very, very, very long season. And the parity has been great. But I don't know. What does this shield look like?
it was like they'd probably lost it on the way to the ground, and then the guy stopped in, or whoever stopped in at Kmart, and they, what looks okay, that's like $8, and then he ran around the corner and he like got a pencil and he just sort of wrote champions on it. And it was like, yeah, I mean,
You know when you go to a fancy cake shop and they give you like they put the cake on a like little platter from a fancy, and when I say fancy, I mean like maybe you pay like $50 for the cake.
and it's like 30,
It just
30
seems
Dean, maybe you should be doing like
Maybe.
I reckon
the trophy.
I could probably do a better job.
Speaking of trophies, the F3 Women's like Derby trophy is really nice. It's a piece of the railing between Newcastle and Gosford. So you
Yeah, I was like, what is that?
a good trophy. Like
I think it's great.
That was weird. I was like looking at that. I'm like, what is that? That looks like a piece of I.
has a bit
You
of
know what?
guardrail.
What maybe the shield wasn't. It's called the shield. Maybe it's not the best trophy, but the challenge cup. I'll tell you what was awesome about that, and it wasn't the cup. It was the $1 million prize
Ooh.
of the challenge cup. So I don't think these players really care too much what these things look like if they are getting paid.
True. But
Yeah.
I mean, for the other players, you get the big one with that trophy that goes up in the club, and then all the players will get little replicas, and they're just going to be like little tea saucers or something. They got a little party pie tinfoil cup, and they squashed it down and go, there you go. That's
What does the A-League trophy look like?
That's it. Well, the women's one is we held it, didn't we, Holly? Well, we got
We
close
stood
to it.
next to it. We were going to steal it, but there were people watching. Both of those are good trophies. I think those are good
Yep.
trophies. Nothing's quite as iconic as the toilet seat of the men's trophy. Denise may not have seen the toilet. Look it up, Denise, when we finish up, and you will see why people literally like show up with a toilet seat to the finals. Yeah. So
Something to look forward to. Put in the toilet seat.
in the toilet seat. Yeah.
Great. So did we go over our exes?
I think we talked about Izzy starting a fight. Chico doing well. Chico made a
Chico-
great pass.
Nico did the pass to spark the goal for Newcastle's burglary.
Jale scored a rocket. Kushla
Played on the bench.
right. Kushla played all
Kushla,
right.
but I heard her name mentioned a number of times in the Wanderers Sydney game.
She did play pretty well.
We won't talk about Wilkie because what she did didn't help us. So
She's not our ex though.
Yeah,
no,
she was the one that got away, I guess.
Who else is there? Oh, Martin. Annabelle had a decent game for Mariners.
Yep.
I can't think of anybody else now. There's more. We're going to have to make a proper section and write down the names of our exes.
Yep.
So we can talk. Any other comments?
It's
No?
great to be back.
It's
It's great to be back. And optimistic, happy, good, positive, assertive football. Let's do it. Let's go the Knicks.
So exciting.
I agree with
Definitely.
COVID boy.
COVID boy. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to us talking about pre-season and the first match and our hopes for the rest of the season. I'm sure that when we do our post-season review of this season, we'll all be totally wrong in all of our predictions. But it is what it is. That's what happens when you do a podcast or you put it out there what you think the results are going to be. Thank you all. Don't forget to tune in the future. We'll have more reviews, discuss previews, and more interviews as well. So thank you, and you can find us on YouTube. Please subscribe, and you can find us on major podcast platforms. So please subscribe on those as well. Thank you. Bye.